And that's a wrap. Hey everyone, Mike Rosehart here, just filming in my tiny house studio. I want to talk to you guys today about how to buy your first rental property. How do you buy your first rental property, and what are some of the key success factors? Hey everyone, just finished up a video here. Sorry, didn't see you there. In the tiny house studio. I'm going to talk to you guys today about money, girls, fitness, the freedom lifestyle, all of that. No, I ain't gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about buying your first rental property. How do you buy your first rental property? How did I do it at 19? How can you do it at 18 or 19? And I'm making this video, I'm thinking, okay, what does the core Gen Z audience think about? You know, what's an 18 or 19-year-old thinking about? They're thinking about getting out of their parents' basement. They're thinking about, they're in school. They're thinking about, can I buy my first property? I wanna elevate into my first job and start bringing in income. I wanna chase entrepreneurship. I want girls, I want money, I wanna be fit. You know what? A lot of the things that you're chasing are tied to investing in real estate. And so how do you do it? What are some of the key tips to successfully buying your first rental property at 19? How did I buy my first rental property at 19? I'm gonna shut these lights off because I'm frugal. We're gonna talk about frugality because that's a big piece of it. You need at 18 to go and explore building a credit history. So you need to go out and get a credit card. You need to build up your credit history. I'm gonna do a whole video, and I've done videos in the past on building your credit score. It is so important to establish a solid credit history and a credit score. You need to be working. If you're 18, 19, 17, 16, 20, 21, why are you not working a part-time job? Why are you not working a full-time job? I worked a full-time job in high school. I worked all the way through university. You can do it too. You need to work very hard. Just like in fitness, if you wanna get fit and you wanna get strong, you have to put in the hours, you have to practice, you have to spend the time learning. There are three components, I think, to successfully landing your deal, right? And I talk back to money, management, and deal. And each one is gonna take you a couple of hundred hours at a minimum to achieve. Let's go outside. I'm gonna talk to you guys about the outside world. Because guess what? You were sheltered inside the tiny house, and now we're outside in the real world. And the real world is tough. It is cutthroat. People are competing heavily against each other to buy these investment properties. And so you have to be tough, you have to be strong. You have to go look at 100 properties to know which one is the right first one to buy. Don't buy the first 10 houses you look at. More likely than not, you're going to need to put in a lot of offers, and the first one is not going to be the right property to buy. So you have to spend a lot of time on the three components. The first one is financing, right? The money. You're gonna need to save up a down payment. No one buys a property for zero down, especially not their first deal. It just usually doesn't happen. There are exclusions and exceptions. Wholesalers can sometimes find vendor take-back mortgages where the vendor owns the house outright and will supply 100% of the financing on the property. But more often than not, and the way that I did it was through a 20%, saving up 20% down payment. Oh, just jumping on my trampoline, get some fitness in, guys. You know what? This tree is beautiful. See these leaves? See how they're green? Green like money. Money's what matters. Okay, guys, let's talk about my rental property. First one there, I had to save up 20% down payment. My first house was a $208,000 house. That means I had to save $41,000 to buy it. I had to save at 19 years old $41,000. Now, between my girlfriend and I, we found multiple facets to do that. We had scholarship income, bursary income. I worked 2 part-time jobs. I had full-time job savings. I was investing that. It grew. We even borrowed a little bit of money with the unsecured line of credit. Everything came together to get that 20% down. You're gonna have to work really hard. Like, I'm talking, get on the ground and do some push-ups. It's not gonna be easy. You're not gonna walk through the door and be like, oh, hey, I got my first rental property. I walked into the bank. The bank's like, oh, Mike, here's a $170,000 mortgage. Please take that. No, you're gonna walk into the first bank and get a no. Second bank, get a no. Third bank, get a no. Fourth bank, get a no. You're gonna apply to 6 or 7 banks. It's gonna consume the better part of 150 hours, if you're not lucky, to get the financing done. There will be a credit union or a B lender. Someone will take the risk on you if you've been following the steps to build your credit, to save up the down payment. You've been an astute student of studying real estate. People want to know my story, and they want to know how I was able to do it, and I wish I could tell you that it was just really easy, that I was just able to go find someone in the wild who owned their house in cash, and I convinced them as a wholesaler to effectively give me their house and finance the entire thing. But you know what? 99.9% of situations do not unfold that way. It's very, very difficult to find those deals. Now, later on in my career, on like my 20th property, I can arrange that kind of stuff because I've done it a million times, but you're gonna make mistakes. Your first property is not gonna be your best deal, it's gonna be your worst deal. More likely than not, everyone I've talked to, their first rental property was their worst. And so you're gonna make levels of improvement beyond your first one. And the most important thing, guys, is just to go out there and do it. One of the toughest things and the hardest pieces of putting together my first deal was getting the financing, because I had learned everything I could learn about how to buy the right property. I had the right deal locked up, and it wasn't the best deal, but at that time I thought it was the best property that I could buy. So I had a deal locked up. I had no idea how to manage a property, how to place tenants, or how to renovate. So those things came, and the deal wasn't as good because I didn't know those things, but those things came. But to get your first deal, to get your feet wet, you need to have two things. One, you need to learn how to become very frugal and save up enough, a down payment to buy a property. Minimum 5%, ideally 20% to avoid private mortgage insurance. And then the second piece is you're gonna have to actually establish solid income and credit score and learn how to put together an application with underwriters to get the mortgage approval. And the mortgage approval process should be a whole nother video, because it really is difficult to explain to you the whole underwriting process from beginning to end. I got so many no's from all the major banks in Canada except for one that took a chance on me because I was going to the Richard Ivey School of Business. They took a chance and they used my student line of credit and combined that into a mortgage product. We had to work really hard, but finally someone came through for us. And that's how we bought our first property for $208,000. We renovated it for about $15,000 to $20,000, and I sold it about 3 years later, for $240,000. So not a huge gain, but it allowed me to live there for positive cash flow per month. I converted it from a 2-bedroom, 1 bath on my first property to a 4-bedroom with a nanny suite apartment and 3 washrooms. So we really did renovate the property and make it really nice, and it cash flowed like a monster. My mortgage, property taxes, utilities, everything was covered by the other tenants and the tenant in the basement, that I was able to live there for entirely for free. And so for that 3-year period, we just saved aggressively. And that's one of the biggest, most important pieces, I think, to success in buying your first rental property, is architecting a house hacking scenario. If you're gonna buy a rental property, you should architect a scenario wherein you're cash flow positive. Hey everyone, as always, I wanna make sure you unlock a wealthier you by spending less, earning more, and maximize returns. Spend less, earn more, and maximize returns, and it'll unlock the doors to financial freedom and to FIRE. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share on social media, and subscribe. And beside that subscribe button, please lightly rub or tap that little notification bell so you can get new notifications when I drop videos. Peace.